Introducing Geoffrey Chaucer, the father of English poetry. Perhaps it's no surprise that he's buried here in Poets' Corner, but that had little to do with him being a poet. 700 years ago, Geoffrey Chaucer was an administrator in the king's household, and among the roles he held, the most important job was as the clerk of the king's works at the Palace of Westminster. He was responsible for the construction and maintenance of these buildings, and on the side, of course, he wrote poetry. Published in 1476, his most famous poem is the Canterbury Tales, in which a group of pilgrims pass the time by telling stories. As they travel between London and St Thomas Becket Shrine in Canterbury Cathedral, the poem covers a fictional competition, over 17,000 lines of Middle English. This insight into medieval pilgrimage used to be depicted in a stained glass window above his tomb. Unfortunately, it was destroyed by a bomb blast in World War II. Chaucer was a social climber who wrote about the world around him. The Book of the Duchess is an elegy lamenting the death of a close friend's wife, while the Parliament of Birds is a moral story reflecting upon the different social classes. When Chaucer died in 1400, he was buried here, maybe because of his popularity in the royal household, maybe because he leased a house nearby, or maybe because he requested this in his lost will. We don't know. This was how Poets' Corner began. It took a few hundred years for this marble monument to be erected. This Latin inscription tells us, "Of old the bard who struck the noblest strains, great Geoffrey Chaucer, now this tomb retains." For the idea of a Poets' Corner to take shape, it took other poets, like Edmund Spenser, wishing to be buried near his grave in the Abbey. Even then, it wasn't until the 18th century that the phrase Poets' Corner ever appeared in print. As for Chaucer's legacy, he was the first author writing in English at a time when Latin was the main written language and the court was speaking French. While he never finished the Canterbury Tales, he did give us insight into daily life for a large cross-section of medieval society. We hear from men and women with stories full of morals and honour, as well as bawdiness and laughter. Chaucer's poem began with a who's who of the pilgrims, setting the scene of the nature in spring and how it's the perfect time for these Christians to begin a pilgrimage.
Here beginneth the Talus of Canterbury, when that April with his sure suitor, that rocked of March had passed to the rooter, and bathed every vine in sweet liqueur, of which that two engendered is a flower. When Zephyrs eke with his sweater breath, and spirit hath in every hout and heth, the tender croppis and the younge sunge, hath in the ram is half a cosoruna. And smaller foolus mackin melodia, that slep in all the neat with open ear, so pricketh him neter in his courages, thong longing folk to gone on pilgrimages, and palmers for to second stranger saunders, to fern hallows couth in sundry Londers, and specially from every shear's ender of England to Canterbury they wender, the holy blissful martyr for to sake her, that him hath hopen when that they were forsaker.